Welcome back to Livestream Hub. I'm Nathan Rajendran, co-host today, and I'm joined with Shannon Schuyler, Chief Purpose and Inclusion Officer at PwC. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here.
So, Chief Purpose and Inclusion Officer, what does that mean? What do you do? What is a day in the life? We'd love to hear more about it.
Well, it's really interesting. I think people have really focused on purpose, understanding the why. And it's really important for us as individuals, but even more important for companies to really have an understanding about why they're doing the things that they do that's really rooted in values and behaviors. So, my role is to look at purpose in our organization and to make sure that our purpose to build trust in society and solve important problems is really how we look at everything that we do. And I oversee everything that's related to being our advocate around purpose, as well as everything in our environmental group, our social group, and our governance group, which I think really helps us to understand that though we do a lot of things, why we do it is truly to bring trust.
Absolutely. And you mentioned trust, and so much of your role is about collaboration cross departmentally. And in an article you wrote on LinkedIn recently, or I guess last year, you said there are no more sidelines. And you were referring to C suite and leadership taking accountability within taking action and diversity and purpose. What did you mean by that? And can you elaborate more?
Well, it's interesting. I think one thing that we've seen, certainly even seen it over the course of the last year, is CEOs and boards and companies are being asked all the time, what is your position on? And so what is your position on whether it's climate, whether it's DE&I, whether it's around reporting various different social issues? And I just don't think that companies can just decide not to respond. I think you can respond and not agree with something. I think you can respond and say that this is material to our business or it's not. But just to pretend that the things aren't happening, I don't think that your employees, I don't think your customers, I don't think your clients view you as a truly trusted organization if you can't actually decide that I stand for something and that something is actually related to my purpose. So that's what I mean of you can't just hide from it because somebody on social media, somebody in your employee group is going to find you and is going to question you. And so even by not answering, someone will create a narrative, and I would much rather create my own narrative versus have someone do it for us.
Stand on business.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I want to know what integration and true inclusion looks like in practice for PwC as a service provider. How does that implementation look like for you and the clients that you've worked with?
I think what is really important is that when we're working with clients or even talking to our people, we realize the complex ecosystem that we're working in. And we talk about that word a lot, especially around climate, but really understanding how do we make sure that we're not creating silos. And so when you look at it, it's not about these things as standalone. Issues around society also have issues around climate when you're looking at underserved communities, which also links into social work, which also links into DE&I, both within the four walls of an organization as well as outside of the four walls. So really making sure that you're looking at things together, that builds momentum. That really amplifies the things that can be done. And I think that focus is something that really is important. And we're seeing more and more clients really start to bring things together instead of having them apart.
Absolutely. And my final question for you is when you talk about momentum, in that article that I referred to, you wrote about trends that you see for 2023. What are the trends that you see for 2024 around this space?
Oh, it's so interesting that you asked because I was like, I'm never going to do trends again because I didn't decide that COVID was going to happen and all of these things.
Right.
I think what we're going to see is continued complexity really within business, and we're going to see a real fractured workforce and workplace, and we have to come together to say how are we going to fix that, how are we going to build trust and really be able to move forward. And I do believe that companies are going to be the ones that continue to be the most trusted, and so we have to really lean into our purpose and our values and make sure that we're doing it right.
Okay, well, great. You heard it here. Purpose, values, and do it correctly. Thank you so much, Shannon. We really appreciate you being here on Livestream Hub.
Thank you so much.